Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something called Samadhana. It's a really powerful way to think about finding some inner peace in our crazy, noisy modern world.
So let's just jump right in with the question. Do you ever get to the end of the day and you're just completely wiped out, but you haven't really done anything that's physical? You know that feeling, right? Just drained. For no good reason.
I love this analogy from the source material. Think about it. That's exactly what our minds are doing. They're constantly in this always-on mode, running all these thoughts and worries and to-do lists in the background, and it is secretly just sucking our mental and emotional batteries dry.
So yeah, that brings us to the first big problem we need to tackle, the always-on mind. We're going to look at why this scattered, distracted state has kind of become the default for so many of us. The source material makes this really brilliant distinction between two states of mind. On one hand, you have the marketplace mind. And this is where most of us live our lives, right? It's noisy, it's scattered, we're just constantly reacting to whatever pops up. It is absolutely exhausting. But what we're aiming for is the temple mind. You know, a space inside that's calm, focused, quiet, and way more resilient. Okay, so how do we actually get there? Well, this is where the source introduces us to what it calls the treasure of Samadhana. It's this really profound solution for all that mental clutter.
So what is Samadhana? At its core, it's about getting into a state of total inner alignment. Just imagine for a second if your thoughts and your feelings and what you actually want to do weren't all at war with each other. Imagine them all moving together in the same direction. That's Samadhana. It's a state where your own energy isn't fighting itself.
And this comparison just illustrates it perfectly. A scattered mind, it's like a lamp with no focus. The light's just everywhere. It's weak, and it doesn't give you any real clarity. But a mind in a state of samadhana, that's like a steady, focused flame. It's powerful, it's unwavering, and it gives you both clarity and warmth.
All right, this all sounds great, but how do we actually get there? Well, the source gives us a really practical framework, a path to follow. And it boils down to 4 pretty clear steps. Okay, step 1, you just have to see the scatter. That's it. Just become aware of the 20 different tabs you have open in your brain. Step 2, acknowledge what it's costing you. All that scatter is draining your energy. Step 3 is the big one. You start treating your attention like the precious, living energy that it is, and you direct it on purpose. And then finally, step 4, you learn to align yourself with that quiet, still place that's always there, just underneath all the noise.
You know, this is the real game changer. We have to completely reframe how we think about our attention. It's not this endless resource. We have to stop thinking that being busy and multitasking are things to be proud of. The source is pretty clear. They're just socially acceptable ways of having a scattered mind, and they always lead to burnout.
All right, let's bring this down to earth. Next up, practice in real life. Let's see how these ideas actually hold up when, life gets messy.
The source shares stories from people trying this out, and Christina's here is so relatable. I mean, who hasn't felt that immediate spike of frustration when you see the kids have just left a total mess? It's like the perfect trigger to send you straight back into that reactive marketplace mind.
And the advice she gets is so insightful. The path isn't about suddenly becoming a perfect Zen master. No, it's a progression. You start with this initial effort at calm acceptance that's called sama. And over time, that develops into a deeper kind of endurance, or titiksha. And that slow shift is what really creates a massive change in our relationships and how we handle everyday frustration.
And this slide is so cool because it shows you what that progress actually looks like on the ground. It's not about never feeling annoyed again. It's about Sangeeta noticing that she's able to catch herself, to pause for just a second before she reacts and instead choose a calmer, more conscious response. That is real, tangible progress. So this whole practice, it actually points us towards something much deeper than just managing our thoughts. It's about understanding our real self.
So the source asks this really fascinating question. You can know everything there is to know about your car, the make, the model, how the engine works, but you never become the car. So why is knowing yourself any different?
And the answer is pretty profound. See, knowing something external, like a car, is different because you're separate from it. But knowing your true self, well, that goes beyond objective reality. You can't observe it from the outside like an object because you are it. So the act of knowing here isn't about learning something new. It's about waking up to what you already are, a being that is fundamentally peaceful, happy, and wise.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful idea to sit with. Maybe this whole journey isn't about chasing happiness or trying to get it from somewhere out there. Maybe it's just about practicing removing all that mental clutter, all that noise from the marketplace mind that makes us forget the peace and happiness that's already who we are. So what would change if you stopped trying to get happiness and instead just tried to stop forgetting it?